This final week, I wanted to share some of the stories of the Desert Fathers that I haven't had a chance to. The first one is from Abba Poman. And some of the brothers came to him and asked him, because they said, we see some of the brothers are falling asleep during the services. What should we do? Should we wake them up? And Abba Poman said, as for me, when I have seen a brother who falls asleep during the office, I lay his head on my knees and let him rest. Again, with that heart of love, that purity of heart, of a loving heart that we see so often. And the other is another story from Abba Moses, and it's about judgment and how we lay it behind. He was often getting asked, he became respected, one of those superstar desert fathers, so people were often coming for his opinions. And somebody had been caught in sin, and they wanted him to come and judge. He avoided them at first, he ignored them for a while, but finally they came, and he agreed that at a certain time, he would be there to stand in judgment over this person. But before he left his cell, before he left his place, he got a big old basket that was falling apart and made sure there were some holes in it and filled it with sand and put it on his back so that as he was carrying it, the sand was leaking out slowly, dripping out behind him. And when he got there, people asked, well, Abba Moses, why did you do that? And he said, my sins are falling out behind me, and I do not see them. And today I come to judge the sins of another. They realized what he was saying, that all of us, if we are honest, right, if we allow our true self to show, all of us have sinned and fallen short. And as we're coming to the end, I have to kind of ask myself, do I actually want to emulate? Do I want to follow these desert monastics, these Ammas and Abbas, who said things that are difficult? They did hard things. And I'm reminded of the theme for today, the theme that the desert monastics were looking for. And the verse that says, blessed are the pure in heart, from Matthew 5, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And I have to ask myself, in our broken society, what would it mean to see God today? To see them in the desert, returning to the desert, to rest in God's presence. What would it mean for our communities to see the fruits of a life lived in God's embrace, a judgment-free zone where we are listened to and loved? What would it mean to be pure in heart? I hope you'll join me in putting some of these things that we've learned into practice, to pray, not necessarily with words, but from the heart, to be alone, to practice solitude, away from whatever props up my ego, to be silent, knowing that you can't learn or hear others when you are speaking, or understand what God is doing in their lives. To flee from an exalted view of myself, to stay for the sake of my neighbor when things are hard, and to let purity of heart, not self-actualization or some sort of coached existence, be my goal, but a heart that turns towards God in in tune with other hearts around me. And my prayer is that the fire of our faith might be rekindled as we tend the fire, and that we'd gain warmth from God's presence among us, in us, and working through us. And I have to thank you for joining me in tending the fire.